Hello everyone. In this video we're going to look at tables, more specifically tables we can express through PowerFX. There are two ways we can express tables in PowerFX and we will look at both of them. And our end goal is to visualize it in this kind of table. The first method we're going to look at is the simple one, I call it sometimes, or just the plain one. So basically, how we construct a table in this way is with square brackets. That defines the table. And then we're going to use curly brackets to define the records inside the table. So a table consists of several records. And a record, inside that one, we define the properties. So let's define a person table here. Called Joe. And then Joe has an H. And then we define two more people. So remember here that strings, in this case names, or text in Power Apps, need to define this way. And then if it's a number, we don't need, we can just write the number as it is. So right now we have created a table where we basically have two columns. And the table consists of 3 records. So let's put them in our data table. So that's just a simple data table control I have here. So we go to the fields, we add, and you can see here, here's the defined columns or properties of our table. So we add them. Let's add favorite food also as a column. So one important thing, if you want to add a column with a space inside for the name, you need to write it this way. Okay, let's add the third column here. And one thing you need to pay attention to is the naming of your column here. So if you write it a bit different, it will come as another one. So you can see here, I wrote it different, so that's why it makes another column. So it needs to be exact the same, or else it will create a second column. So I'll correct this one. Remove our column here. That was the square bracket method. Let's look at the second way of express a table through PowerFX. The second way of expressing a table with PowerFX is with the table function. So PowerFX has the table function, which is expressed this way. And then when we have defined that, we can basically use the curly brackets to define all the records inside the table, as we did with the previous method. So I will just copy the records from the last one. So here again, we have the table consisting of 3 records and with 3 columns. So let's display that in the data table. Alright, here we have displayed the data again. As a bonus to this table video, let's try to look at a function that can manipulate the table. And this specific function we're going to look at is the AddColumns. So I want to add a column which value is based on the other columns in the table. So the way we can add another column is to use the AddColumns function. And what we need to provide here is the actual column name. And this column could be allowed entrance. So we would like to make a check on the age, and based on the age, if they are allowed or not. So we're going to do an if check. If this record, it's how we refer to the specific record in the table. And then we would like to check on the age. And let's say if the age is larger than 30. then they are allowed entrance. Not, they are not. So this is basically how we can add a column to a table as a way of manipulating the table. So let's look at the values by adding the column to the data table. So Joe is below the age of 30, so he's not allowed, and then the other is allowed. Now we have demonstrated the two ways we can express tables through PowerFX, one with the square brackets and the other one with the table function. And as a bonus, we also looked at one function to manipulate a table, and that was the AddColumn as a way of calculating a value for a new column based on the other columns in the table. Until next time, stay awesome and build awesome apps.